Now at your local Jeep dealer. I'm Matt Pauley with the Sports Flash on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio.
WEMB Irwin. I don't like that hesitancy, do ya? Nah, it's not good. Hello, it's Marky Bilson, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-City sports fans. The name of the program is Tri-City Sports Now, and we own the Tri-Cities with the best guests, the hardest-hitting opinions in the market here on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. Today's show, three big guests. First of all, moved up from 1 to 12:15, Jerry Bonkowski, the right rev of speed, the All-Star race. It's in Charlotte. And we're going to be talking about it here coming up in just a few minutes, 12:15 as a matter of fact. Then at 12:30, another race, horse racing, Preakness Stakes. The top two finishers, or I guess I'm trying to think. Obviously, Country House won it after the disqualification, but the controversy there, who's running in the Preakness Stakes? But you know what? 12 horses, Improbable the favorite, Bob Baffert horse, running it the last time I saw 5-2. Teresa Gennaro will tell us all about this. She's joined us. She's our horse racing expert. BrooklynBackstretch.com. That's who she writes for. And she'll be at the Preakness. She used to live, actually, in Maryland as well. Is this it for Pimlico? That's a question. What's the status there? And then at 1:30, Josh Brown, Knock Home a Nation, talking about the Braves, Austin Riley. We've been talking about Sean Newcomb to the bullpen. He's been working out splendidly there. And so, better times may be ahead for the Atlanta Braves. The big story today, and it came out at a time when I was ready to write my monologue up, so my monologue does not concern this. But Grant Williams is going to declare to the NBA draft. This is only a surprise to the biggest Tennessee homers out there. It is not a surprise at all. Grant Williams projected to go in the first round of the NBA draft. The problem is it leaves the Vols with the cupboard bare. And I mean bare. Can they get, Kerry Blakeshear? That basically is its success, is the hope for its success. Its success, their success. Let me use the right grammar here for a change. Their success. And so, Grant Williams going to the NBA. I saw him projected to go as high as 19th. And we've got some right here. Let's see here. Grant Williams leaves Tennessee with 1,629 points, 678 rebounds, 166 shots. These things don't mean anything. You're not going to remember that. Some draft nicks. They've got him going to the Cavs, playing for John Beilein, drafted 26th overall. ESPN has him going 23rd to the Jazz. All right. What I do think is that coming forward for the Tennessee Volunteers basketball program, well, this basketball talk that we have here, coming to the basketball program, it is the success of the team. It comes through Kingsport. John Fulkerson. This team right now is very weak at the post. And Gary Parrish picked him 21st overall in the next year's preseason poll. Right now, I'm thinking that's a stretch. Jordan Bone, will he return? I don't think so, but that's pure speculation. But Williams will declare. He just made his decision a day early. He will declare and be drafted, probably in the first round. Interestingly enough, I heard that, they've been listed at 6'7" all this time. Actually, he's 6'5" 3/4. That's what the NBA people say. Meanwhile, ETSU news, that big man on campus that was coming in, he's been identified. Charlie Weber from Skeeter Swift's hometown of Alexandria, Virginia. He committed to the ETSU Buccaneers. Paperwork is being filed as we say. Weber played for John Wooten. He's the son of Morgan Wooten. Morgan Wooten is maybe the greatest high school basketball coach who ever lived. Morgan Wooten put 2 players on the national champion Cardiac Pack 1983 NC State Wolfpack, and if you saw Survive and Advance, you know that he was actually considered to be the NC State Wolfpack's head coach. I think everyone in Raleigh is happy that he didn't take the job. But Derek Wittenberg and Sidney Lowe from that historic and famous team went down to Raleigh without him. They credit the fundamentals they learned from Morgan Wooten. Red Auerbach was a fan, all this. Anyway, his son is now a basketball coach at a school called Bishop O'Connell. 6'9" power forward coming to ETSU, Charlie Weber. Averaged only 13 points a game, though, in high school, so that's something to look at. But he shot 48% from outside the arc, and he's a 6'9" forward. Now, that's not bad. And that's the way the game is going. By the way, Bishop O'Connell was 20-13 on the season. There are some people projecting that this new Buccaneer, Charlie Weber, is the 12th best player in Virginia. I don't know. Those rankings I get a little bit. One of the things I was listening to Chuck Oliver talk about, and this is going to be my monologue, was Tennessee's attendance. College football, I guess like all sports, there's become an attendance problem. Maybe the tickets are too high. Maybe we don't want to sit outside in bad weather. Maybe we don't want, But here's the thing. There are 100,000 seats, 108, I suppose, at Neyland Stadium. They're not selling them. Actually, although you would see attendance counts of 95,000 or whatever at Neyland Stadium last year, maybe close to 100, something like that. In actuality, the attendance was more like 78,000. So many fannies were in the seats. There's, season ticket holders say, I don't want to go see UAB. Is it worth my time to get $3 for the ticket to put it online? Take a loss? That sort of thing. There's always somebody who's going to have a flat tire on the way to the game and won't be able to make it. That sort of thing. But Neyland Stadium, that used to be such a, prestige for Tennessee. We have 100,000 seats at our stadium. Now there are 8 stadiums in college football that have 100,000 seats. There are 11 with capacities of 90,000 or more. 12 if you count the Cotton Bowl, where they play the Red River rivalry every year. And there are a couple other college football games, but that's not a home venue for anyone. So 11 or 12, depending on your count, but 90,000. 7 more have 80,000 seats. 4 more college football stadiums have 25,000, have 75,000. They all have 25,000. Now that's about a third of major college football with stadia 75,000 or more. So suddenly, we have 100,000 seats. It just, not what it once was. Oh, good, you have a lot of nosebleed seats. Way to go, Tennessee. Big yards just aren't being filled the way they used to. Look at BMS. All right. So last year, on average, there were 30,000 no-shows just about for every Vols game. Now, here's the problem with that. There's something that sports marketers call, and I've talked about this before, the sellout mentality. Not that you are a sellout, but the games sell out. The sellout mentality is something sports marketers speak of, and the idea is this. Let's say you were going to the Battle of Bristol a few years ago. You probably were there and telling everybody at work or school about it. Guess where I'll be Saturday night? Yeah, I'm going to be part of history. Oh, yeah, look at the ticks I got. Now, that's a little bit of a different feel than when you decide to go out and see, let's say, a Tuesday matinee movie. Yeah. You're not really bragging at school. I'm going to the movies tonight, this sort of thing. Or this afternoon. An ETSU basketball game against a non-Division I opponent from outside the area, or Tennessee football games, that's been that just hasn't been the draw. There's really only one really glamorous big game on the Tennessee home schedule in the upcoming season. It's Georgia. All right? So the Vols have something called the Vol Pass. They do this in basketball, and it offers a fan to sit not in one seat for the entire year, but a variety of seats in Neyland. And actually, I think that's a pretty decent deal. Or, and the one thing about it is that it allows you to sit all over the stadium, so you really feel like, this is my home, that sort of thing. Neyland Stadium and all that. I've sat at the 50-yard line. I've sat at the 20-yard line. I've sat in the end zone and like that. So this will be really nice. You'll bond with the stadium and therefore the program that much more until you're in the end zone and saying, boy, this is lousy, that sort of thing. Yeah. But ETSU realized their limitations in achieving the sellout mentality a few years ago, and they, the fire marshal came in and said, this won't do 12,000 seats at the mini dome. And I still can't believe they never have rectified that, but they haven't. And instead they moved to Freedom Hall. Now the sellout mentality is this: it's a hell of a lot easier to sell 6,000 seats to a ball game than it is 12,000. ETSU realized that with some help from the fire marshal. Now, today, ETSU announced they got a June 28th deadline for their fans to renew men's basketball season tickets. Season, of course, begins in November. Now, there's a little bit of gall for ETSU to do that, in my opinion. They don't even know what the schedule is, or at least they haven't announced it. All we know is that Appalachian State is supposed to come to town, and, you'll have the traditional Southern Conference opponents. We just don't know when. But seeing how the non-conference schedule the Bucks have played the last 2 years, really ever since Tennessee came to Johnson City and said we're never coming back, the out-of-conference schedule has been less than intriguing, and I'm being real charitable when I say that. So maybe ETSU needs all the time they can get to sell the seats. It does help, I think, ETSU to gain influence on Freedom Hall if they give the deadline for season tickets to be June 28th, at least to renew them. Because then they can say, look, we got 3,000 people we know will be at the venue. Let's set our own date for the games. And so Freedom Hall doesn't go out and look for other events, perhaps in November. Not that they get a lot of events. In fact, the only event they have listed right now on Freedom Hall's website is next month there's going to be a Michael Jackson tribute. That's it for the summer. Place is a white elephant. But this is why I say a new arena needs to be built in Johnson City, but it's also the dilemma. The tendency around here really is to build venues too big. Think about it. BMS, Neyland Stadium, Thompson Bowling Arena, for that matter, the Mini Dome. Now, that makes for a wonderful event when Virginia Tech and Tennessee meet in a once-in-a-lifetime football game at BMS. But when the actual races are there and there's 26,000 for the Food City 500, people then say, is NASCAR going to survive? Are we going to have NASCAR in 10 years? The other thing about it that I've said, I don't know if you remember, I don't remember when BMS was 12,000 and you could see the views of the mountains. I have seen some video of when Neyland Stadium held 60,000 and you could see the Tennessee River, but it's now enclosed. So those venues have all the charm of a cookie-cutter ballpark. But if a new arena is built in order to get the major concerts, I'll speak here soon, and events that once came to the area but now surpass it, think the Aerosmith concert. Think Aerosmith. I said that before. Elvis, AC/DC, Metallica. They used to all come to the Freedom Hall. They don't now. New arena would mean, as I always say, an ECHL team. But here's the problem. How would ETSU ever sell, let's say, 15,000 seats? Like Creighton does. It would be a bold move to try to improve the basketball program to major status, and yes, make the area more cosmopolitan, but it could also lead to the tomb feel of ball games like they got at UNCG, the Citadel, and Sanford. But Thompson Bowling Arena, although it rarely sells out for the Vols, still has 20 dates listed through July the 6th. So concerts, now think about this, they might want to come to a Tri-Cities venue that, say, had 15,000, I'm just throwing that number out there, instead of a 24,000 seat alternative, because the odds are most, even major concert draws, wouldn't sell the 24,000 seats. They would sell the 15, and the rent would be less. Cost less to, get the place. So that would make the Tri-Cities more attractive than Knoxville or Roanoke or wherever else, Asheville, to land a show. And therefore, the area becomes more cosmopolitan, and it's not like it is right now, which has dropped in TV market from 92nd to 102. There you go. And you know what? I think that is worth the risk, having the area stand on its own, even if it means a few empty seats for the basketball team at ETSU. And I say this, if ETSU ever really wants to be nationally ranked again, think about this. New arena. Could happen. Jerry Bonikowski is next. Tri-City Sports Now.
Sunshine, spring flowers, getting away for the day, and new